It's go time. So working on cross member, had to cut out a piece of my floor to get it up high enough to be where I wanted it, to get the angle of the drive line where I wanted it, and to get it just in general tucked up so there's less hanging down. Cut the floor out, working on a cross member now. I'm going to use actually the pieces I originally bought to build motor mounts. I'm getting ready to tack them in. I'll explain more about how it's going to be bolted in here in a little bit. Got the mount all welded up here, bolted the tranny. I just tacked these pieces on. Piece on this side, another piece on the back side here. So what this is going to allow me to do, I got these pieces welded on the side, on each side, and this 2-inch quarter wall just slipped through them, and this sitting down on there. I'll finish welding that up, bracing that up, but we'll probably drill 2 half-inch bolt holes through here, and that will hold the mount to the cross member, and then we'll drill another 1 or 2 half-inch bolt holes on each end here. So when you want to take it apart, take the 2 bolts out of each end here, take the 2 bolts out here. This 2-inch piece will just slide right out. You just slide it clear out of the way. That will be one super strong cross member that bolts in, comes out easy. I'm gonna weld some flat pieces from the frame down to here, and then from here up. That way, you know, you get up against a rock or something, it can hit that and kind of slide around it rather than just getting jammed in the corner there. And it will make it stronger. A lot of progress. That'll probably be it for tonight because it's getting late. Just about got the cross member done, and drive shafts are on the way, shifters are on the way, and we're getting close. Man, I can't wait to drive this thing. So soon enough. Okay, I lied, I wasn't done. It's a lot later now, but you know, when you're on a roll, you got to keep going. I finished welding my plates on here, 1 on each side, welded a gusset in between. So it's sitting on it now, all the weight's on it. Now I just got to drill 2 holes here, 1 or 2 holes here, 1 or 2 holes here. Put my strapping on, my bracing. My cross member is basically done. I have plenty of room for exhaust to come through here. This other side's gonna be a little bit more sketchy. Once we have drive shaft in, I'm hoping that there'll be enough room to come right down through here and around. Maybe even have to do like an oval or a flatter piece, come back up here. It's gonna be tight, but we got a good stout cross member now. You know, what do they say? That ain't going anywhere. This is all for tonight. I'm going home. Well, tonight I got some holes drilled. My cross member, got my 1/2-inch holes drilled on the ends, a couple in the middle, another one on this end, and then I got my braces put on here. Some triangle braces. I'll say it again, I'm not the best welder, don't claim to be, but I think they'll hold. I try to get enough penetration where they'll hold. I really struggle going across the side of something when I don't have a good ledge to drop my weld on. And I'll probably make another piece for the inside here to finish boxing that, but you get the idea. And over here at this side, same way. I may make a end cap to plug the end of that tube right there so it looks a little smoother. Take these 4 bolts out, jack the transmission up a little, take the weight off. This piece of square tube can just slide clear out either side, out of the way. It really helps strengthen the frame. And then we'll probably put another one back here at the back of the transfer case and bolt on here the output to support that transfer case. It's pretty heavy. It sticks back pretty far because of the doubler, and it's just a lot of weight hanging there. So we'll get that supported. By having another cross member there, we can make a skid plate come down under the transfer case, bolt to here, bolt to this cross member, and we can come up, cover some of the tranny pan, and I may put another cross member up here somewhere. Haven't decided yet. Get the idea. That one's the main one to support the tranny so we can get things up and going again. Shifters came in today. So transfer case shifters anyway, be working on that, and drive shafts next week are supposed to be here before Christmas hopefully, and transmission shifter. So still lots to do, but we're making some good progress. Working on kind of getting transfer case shifter mocked up, seeing how all that's going to go. This shifter's from JB Custom. It's a really nice shifter, but I've run into 2 problems. One, this bracket they sent me was for a driver drop transfer case. So this little tab here was sticking out this side, so I had to cut it off and re-weld it on over here so it would line up correctly with the doubler. And then they've got these cool little arms that are supposed to thread on. They're supposed to screw on here. Then they got a little pinch bolt that locks them on. Only problem is there's no way that's screwing on. So I drilled it out to 1/2 inch so I could slide it on, get it lined up, tighten the pinch bolt, and then I got just a 1/2 inch fine thread lock nut, or 1/2 inch fine thread nut will Loctite it, and that will sandwich that on there, and I think that will work just fine. Now, if you didn't have a doubler, it probably would screw on and clear, but there's no way in heck I'm taking apart this brand new transfer case to screw this arm on. So unless I'm missing something, maybe a little design flaw there. The picture they sent, maybe an old style, it shows there being a nut on there and it says nuts no longer needed. I don't know what else to do, so I'm making it work. A little frustrating. They are nice shifters. We're gonna get that locked on there and hooked up, and then I'm gonna have to figure out where I'm gonna mount shifters. Happy Saturday morning. Working on flexor fans this morning. So I got them bolted up here to the shroud. Flip it around here. I bought this shroud from, it's like Tejas or Tejas Steelworks or something like that. I'll try to put a link in the description. But anyway, it's made to bolt these fans up to and bolt right to the big block top radiator support. Then the bottom fits right down in your factory little clips that hold it on there. So I got a couple of these. I think they're like 1700 CFM. So I just gotta set that down in there, bolt the fan shroud back down, and then we're gonna tie that fan wiring into, let's see, somewhere here. There's a high and low, or fan 1 and 2, however you want to look at it. Tie those into power. Run a ground down here to our main ground, and fans will be done. All right, got the fans wired up. Haven't tied all the wiring up yet, but got them grounded here to my main ground on the frame. My wires run up to my fan outputs, and I got a little test relay in here just to be able to turn them on and make sure they're going to work. So this would be fan number 1, which is the driver's side. That one works. And we'll try the passenger side. Fan number 2. Holy cow. It moves some pretty good air. So I guess we'll see. The true test will be when this thing's hot. We'll see how they do. I'm gonna tidy up all the wiring, put some loom on it and tie it down, and then put the intake back on, and then that project will be done, and drive shafts hopefully Monday. And then this thing could move under its own power again. Just making a mount here for this little coolant overflow bottle. So I got a piece of just small channel iron, and gonna bolt that on to the radiator support, set that up against there. Then I cut some slits in each side. We'll run a hose clamp all the way around, clamp it in there. The pieces they sent with it are just junk. Of course, the whole thing's just cheap Amazon junk, but they sent some chintzy little brackets. It's like, what are you gonna do with that? So when I get it all mounted up, I'll show you here in a minute. You ever notice sometimes how for the simplest job, you get like every tool in your entire shop out? That's how I feel about this stupid little bottle. Anyway, we got her clamped on there. A little piece of channel iron behind it. Just a short piece of hose for an overflow. I don't particularly like this tank that well, but we're gonna see how it works for now. It was cheap, so I had to drill a couple holes through there to be able to get my bolts in through there. But nevertheless, it's on there. Finished product of the fans. They're all wired up neatly, and I'm gonna throw the intake back on, and then she's almost ready to rock and roll. A special delivery today. They made it. New drive shafts. my new yoke for the front and rear diff from Adams. All the hardware, and they are stinking heavy duty. Adams drive shaft. They're out in Las Vegas. Called them, gave them measurements. They built them, shipped them. I had them within a week from Las Vegas, so that's pretty amazing. Pretty impressed. You know, all the hype is true, I guess, about service anyway, and quality looks pretty dang good to me. And they're built, they're heavy, so we're gonna get them put on. I moved my transfer case down one notch. Just rotated it. I rotated it down one more notch, which is a few degrees, and that way it just gives me a little better front drive shaft angle. And if I ever raise the front anymore or link it or anything where I have more down travel, it just gives me, you know, like another 4 inches of down travel up there. We're still above our cross member, the lowest point on the transfer case, so I can build a skid plate that comes back and another mount to support the back of it. Just spray a little paint on some stuff. I'm gonna get the drive shafts put in, and then I'll come back and put my tranny mount back in after it dries. But then we can move on to exhaust, tranny cooler lines, and I think shifter. I think transmission shifter is the only thing I'm still waiting on. So I'm gonna get to rolling. All right, drive shafts are 98% in. Rear one's 100% in. Changed out my yoke, put a new pinion seal. That all bolted in. Painted my cross member. Got that back in. Front shaft's bolted into the transfer case. And front yoke is in, but I'm gonna get a new pinion seal tomorrow. I didn't have one to go in there. That one really wasn't leaking, it was dirty, but I'm going all this work. I'm gonna put a new seal in there, bolt that in, and then move on to tranny cooler lines, exhaust, and then shifters will probably be the last thing. But basically, it would move under its own power now. I'd have to get under here and shift the transmission into gear because I don't have that shifter yet, but it's getting there. So close. So close. So that's it for tonight. Got to go get the Christmas ride video ready to go. That'll be coming out next, so later. Well, just under here working on some tranny cooler lines. Get those run, the exhaust put on. We'll be on the road in no time. See how big of a mess I can make here. Actually pulled in and out of the shop today under its own power for the first time in quite some time. Alright, well, got those hooked up there, and we're gonna run them up along side of the motor and around and get them all fastened up and tied up neat. So we'll work on that and we'll show you the end result. Alright, well, I've done all I can do for tonight because I'm waiting on some fittings for the radiator, but I got them lines coming out of the transmission running up along the motor. Got them bolted up in a couple spots to the pan, some separators in there to kind of hold them apart. I got them run up here, tied in again here, and then they'll go right up to the radiator. Oh, my light must be going dead.
That's what he said.
All right, today's the day. I got my friend Justin here. He was kind enough to bring his bender over and help me build some exhaust. So we'll show you a little bit of this as we go along here. Working on the first piece now. So we'll get some pieces built and we'll come back and show you, update you in a bit. Look at that. It's money. Snake right around, we'll come down under here and back up. Try to keep it tucked up there.
Go up.
All right.
Cut that off.
Working on the other side now. Got this side done. It's not all tightened up, but I bent down under the transfer case and run right out just over the axle. So we'll get this side bent and put in. We'll weld everything up, put some more hangers on, and then we'll get to hear what it sounds like.
You got big ass drive bar?
And we got Avery here, mount some tires. All right, so you got this side built. Got one piece from manifold clear back to the muffler, which is pretty cool, and then another piece right out the back. I'm dumping right up here where they're out of harm's way. So still got to finish welding everything up, putting gaskets in, whatnot, but the hard stuff's done. So thanks to Justin. And what's the name of your exhaust shop?
J&B Exhaust and Fab
in Horton, Kansas. So anyway, I'll see. I don't know. You got a Facebook page?
I don't have one for the business.
Okay. Well, anyway, you can message me.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I'll definitely share it too.
Anyway, I was just telling him, like, he brought his freaking bender to my shop. Like, who does that? That's pretty cool. So I feel blessed to have some friends that'll do that. So anyway, we'll get it all buttoned up. We'll do a video with sound and everything, and so you can hear what it sounds like. Okay, got all the pieces off on the floor here, and I got all the joints welded up, O2 sensor bungs welded on, and I'm ready to put it back together. So I'm gonna get those slapped back on there, just be able to put all the gaskets in, get it all sealed up, and we'll see how it sounds. All right, here's what she looks like in the back again. We snuck it out here just behind the back axle. I think I'm gonna have just enough clearance here, and if it ever does hit there, it would be like maxed out, loaded down. So I'm not terribly worried about that. If it dings the exhaust, it's not the end of the world. And got our mufflers tucked up in here good. Come down around, this is the lowest point. We just had no other choice because there isn't a lot of room to sneak around that transfer case and drive shaft. But they're tucked in there pretty good. Our O2 sensors in. Same over here, this side was pretty easy. So there'll be some places I probably build some little heat shields and whatnot, but we're gonna hear it run. Right, about to find out how many leaks we have. I'll set you down here so you can be right under it. That's gonna be all for today. I've been out here since about 8:30 this morning. It's 4:45. The only thing I've eaten all day is popcorn. So I'm pretty hungry. But just, again, special thanks to Justin for bringing his bender over and helping me out with that exhaust. That was huge. I didn't have to haul it anywhere that way. So, that exhaust made, got some tires mounted up for Avery today. And as soon as I get a shifter, even before that, if I get somebody to help me shift it into gear, we could take it for a short little rip. So still lots to bundle up and make some little heat shields and whatnot, but we got it on the run now. Over and out. All right, Landon came home, so I had him help me shift it so we can take it for a little rip down the road.
Whoa!
We got no seat.
I don't got a handle.
We got no seat either. I'm sitting on some foam pads.
That's That's sketchy with the drive shaft being right there.
See if it shifts.
Sketchy.
Tire rubbing.
I forgot that. We need to cut out the fender.
Alright, you're gonna have to go shift it in the park.
Yeah.
Well, that was fun.
Ow.
Still a lot of little bugs and things to work out, but it's fun to be able to drive it again. Alright, so just finishing up transmission cooler lines. I got my other fittings in today. Pressure out of the transmission is the top line. And when we go into the bottom of the radiator, right there, so then that's going to push any air out the top. And then we come around to the front, and we're going to go back into the bottom of the auxiliary cooler. There again, it pushes any air up and out, and back the return line clear back to the transmission. So another thing we could check off the list: shifter, still waiting on transmission shifter. We'll get that in, then be ready to take her for a better rip. So hopefully maybe tomorrow. Shifters finally came in today, or shifter. So I've been working on it for the last several hours. Show you what I got done, and yeah, I'll go underneath first. So we got shift cable coming in, shift bracket, shift lever. Had several different holes you could put it in. These holes are slotted for cable adjustment. The cable's threaded for adjustment. So there's about 10 different ways you can probably put that on there. So up top, I made a piece to go over part of where I cut out for the transfer case. Come up so I can have a flat surface to mount to. So across the center here, I got a nice flat surface. And then I spaced up my shifter with some 2-inch square to get it up a little higher, and also give me more room for my transfer case shifters there. So this shifter come from Kilduff. I don't know if you can see that. Guy out of California. It was cheaper than a low car. Already has the resistors in it for the tap shifter. So all I gotta do is hook these 2 wires up here to these 2 wires here to make my tap shifter work, which is this long one. The only thing that I wasn't quite expecting, I thought the shift cable was going to come out the back. It didn't, which is fine because I made this work going out the front. Just had to notch a hole. We'll cut a plate to cover all that up later. And the other bad thing about it is, because the way I had to hook it up down below, it's kind of backwards from what a normal shifter would be. So park is back instead of forward. I'm just going to make a new plate to go on here to relabel it, and it'll work just fine. It'll take a little bit of getting used to. Park, reverse, neutral, drive. You go one more, puts it in manual. You can use this lever to manually shift it. So it's probably a little taller than it needs to be. I might take this knob off and put on my old 4-speed knob just to mess with people. But I'll get a plate made to relabel that, and then all will be well. I could have made it work to make, you know, everything line up like it's supposed to, but it's not how I wanted it to hook up down below if I would have done that. So anyway, this is gonna work fine. It's not fully welded in yet. I still got some more welding to do. It is functional. go pick up some tools and then open the door and try it out. All right, it's the next night since the last night. I was still working on boxing this giant hole in the floor. Got the shifter mounted last night, transmission shifter. Made sure it's gonna shift, the tap shifter works. I gotta tidy up all that wiring. Still gotta cover this big hole. But I started on that side and the back, covering this hole, and I want to give it some structure back in it, not just some thin sheet metal. So used a piece of angle iron across the back. That's a piece of 2-inch wide, 1/4 inch thick flat strap. Just been using scrap pieces. I had a bunch of scrap pieces of tread plate left that was a little bit thicker, so I used that down the side to give it structure. This on top's just thin sheet metal, but that's all right. I've got to bump up here just a little bit to clear the shift linkage. That's what I'm going to be working on next. I welded a little brace in right here, so this is a little bit sturdier now. The other thing about having this angle iron here, then I can lay these cables across it, come through the floor and around, and have a place to kind of clamp them down there and seal them up. So that's my plan. That's probably going to be it for tonight. Tomorrow night or maybe Saturday, I'll start cutting, fitting pieces in over there and see how far we get. But the shifter actually works pretty good. All right, the last video I made last night, I did it and then I looked down and the camera was on time warp and I was like, oh crap, that ain't gonna work. So anyway, I'm back the next night working on this floor some more. And what I did last night was I welded in some more structure on this side, and then tonight I made this piece that bolts on that goes over the top. See a row of bolts there, I bolted it down, and that way, man, if I need to get in here and work on shift cables, shifter, whatever, it'll make it way easier to just unbolt that to access it. So that's all I'm going to do for tonight. Tomorrow I got to make a piece that goes in each end. I'll make a piece and cut out to go around each one of those cables. I'll make a little piece to go in up here. And then probably what I'll do when I put it in for the last time is just maybe put a little silicone on the ends or something on the gaps that are left just to keep the dust out. Probably spray a little paint on it, and then I got kill mat to put on all the floor to help with sound and insulation and whatnot. It may not be pretty, but it'll work. I thought of probably 20 other ways to do this after I started, but the way I did it, it put a lot of strength and structure back into the floor since I cut out such a huge chunk of it. We're gonna call that a wrap for tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow. Making some progress here. It's Saturday morning, noon, I don't know, it's Saturday. I got everything mocked up. I got some pieces welded in on the front side to fill in the gap. I got a piece made for the back side. And what I did was I cut notches in it, put hose around my cables, fill in the gap, and then it all bolts down. And then when you want to work on it, you just take all the bolts out, pick her up out of the way, and you can get to everything. So used a piece of angle iron and made some notches across there, and use hose on the cables to protect them there. It ain't real pretty, but it's all done with scrap pieces that I had laying around because I didn't want to go buy anything, and it will be sturdy and functional, and you won't see it anyway because it'll be under the seat. So I'm going to get everything all welded up and bolted down, and then I think maybe a few other little odds and ends, but I got to build a plate to cover this massive hole where the shifter was, the original shifter. And then maybe we can actually go drive it around for a while. So that's what we're shooting for. Okay, here's the mostly finished product, all bolted down. They're sealed up pretty good around the cables. Bolted down all the way around. I did bolt the plate down on there, screw a plate down, but I still got to mount my transfer case shifter. So that's what's on the agenda next. But I ain't going nowhere. It's all in here, bolted down. I welded some 1/4 inch on there, little brace there, drilled and tapped holes. Same thing over here, welded a piece of 1/4 inch, drilled and tapped holes. She's getting solid. Shifter's getting solid here. All fits, barely. And the seat barely fits over it. I might have to put a tiny spacer under the seat, but wanted to try to keep the bench seat so at least a small person could squeeze in the middle so we could have 3 people in here. So we're going to tighten some knobs down and then we'll try it out here after a bit.
hitting the transfer case. Back up a little. You're clear. You were hitting this one. Yeah, he hit that one. You hit that one on the transfer case a little.
Let's see if I can do it a little bit.
Like lay it flat.
I got no skid plates right now.
Yeah. Probably should build those.
You're going to hit that one?
I don't know.
Let's try it again.
Oh, hold on. Let me go to the other side. You're clear. Ooh. No problem. But now it's muddy.
All right, so this morning we just made a hold down for this battery here. Just used a piece of small channel iron across the top, a couple 1/2-inch pieces of all thread, one on each side, welded it on, put some nuts on it. So that battery ain't going nowhere. So that'll probably be it for this video, huh boys?
Yeah.
We got it running, we got it driving, got it usable again, shifters in it. Whole bunch of little things and a few bigger things that still need to be done, but at least it's back up and running. We can use it and have some fun. You'll have to stay tuned and see what's next. Hopefully we get to put it to work. What do you have to say?
I think it's going to be really fun.
All right. What do you want to say? Over and out? See you later.
Peace.
What do you want to tell the viewers?
Subscribe. Watch more videos.